All right, everyone, we're back. Part six of the Q&A video. You guys had way more questions than I was expecting, and they just keep coming. It's like every time I think I'm almost at the end, I get another page and a half of questions, and that's essentially another video. So, as I was saying, last video I had a page and a half left, and that would have been a pretty much one video, and now I've got 2.5 pages of questions. So I don't know if I'm going to finish this time. So hopefully I'll try and finish this time so we can so I can do other videos. I have like so many impressions videos I have to do. I've got 3 just waiting to be recorded, but I keep doing these videos. So Q&A, hopefully it's finished this time. But so let's hop into it really quick so we can try and get some stuff done. So first question, Ozeloto. I don't know if that's how you say it, but again, I'm screwing up all these names, I guess. He asked, you seem to be a big Lovecraft fan. What is your favorite story? I have a lot of favorite Lovecraft stories. I really like, probably my absolute favorite, though, is Shadow over Innsmouth. But I really like The Whisper in Darkness. I'm trying to think of... The Shunned House is a really good one. It's hard because there's so many good ones. There's so many good stories from Lovecraft, and picking out my favorites is hard. And like I'm really into it. Like I went to Providence. I've been to like a bunch of locations that are in Lovecraft stories. Like for example, I just mentioned the Shunned House. You can actually go to that house. It still exists in Providence. It's the Fleur de Lis house or whatever, but you can find it. It's really easy to find. And there's a bunch of locations in Lovecraft stories that are still around. So if you go to Providence, you can just walk around and find all that stuff. So that's pretty awesome. And I've actually been to the library in Providence where all his manuscripts were donated, and I've examined manuscripts. If you do that, they don't let you, I mean, you have to ask the librarian, and they'll let you look at like they're almost like they're pretty much photocopies of the original documents. They won't let you handle them unless you have like some special reason to be handling them. But I've done that, and it's actually pretty interesting. If you look through like Shadow over Innsmouth, that's not printed anywhere, but if you look at the original manuscript, there's maps of all the towns that Lovecraft drew by hand into the stories, so you can see like the locations of everything in relation to each other. It's that kind of thing. Like, I'm a pretty big Lovecraft fan. So yeah. And then follow-up question, he asked, did you play Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth? Yes. I played that on the PC originally. I also have it on the Xbox now. Yeah, that's a good game. You should play that, actually, if you haven't played that. Dark Corners of the Earth on the Xbox. It's one of the more expensive Xbox games, but that doesn't mean anything because most Xbox games are pretty cheap, so it's probably like $30 now. Get it if you haven't played it. So alright, thanks for those questions. Jolly Good is back with one more question. Do you like Silent Hill? I like Silent Hill. It's probably my favorite horror, I guess, survival horror series. I like pretty much every Silent Hill game. I haven't played Homecoming because it was never released in Japan, and to get it, it's expensive. In Japan it's expensive. I know it's like a pretty cheap game everywhere else, but in Japan it's still like $50, and I feel like I don't want to pay $50 for Homecoming. But Silent Hill's good. I even like the Silent Hills that nobody else likes. I like Silent Hill The Room. I like Silent Hill what's it called, the Wii one, Shattered Memories. I like even the Silent Hill game on the Vita. I think it's a good game. I don't know, man. I like Silent Hill. That's all I can say. It's good. So yeah, thanks for the question. So next we've got an unpronounceable name, OMG Epionastaken, I'm guessing. I don't know though. You know who you are. Yes, are you a completionist, or do you finish the game once the credits roll? It depends. I'm not like a completionist to the point where I have to finish every game 100%. Like I don't even care about that stuff for the most part. There's some things I do care about in games though that I'm a completionist for. So if like I'm doing an RPG, I almost always do 100% side stories if I have the option. Like, some RPGs it's just real you need a guide, and I don't usually use a guide at my first playthrough of anything. So if I'm going to play through a game and I don't have a guide and some of the quests just are unfindable without a guide, I'm probably not going to go back and play the game again just to do a few of those. But for the most part, I'll do as much as I can in the game before I finish it. So like recently I finished the new Yakuza game, and I didn't get 100% clear on that because you have to do a bunch of ridiculous side stuff, but I did do all the sub stories and I did do the main story and a bunch of other stuff in the game, all the dungeons and stuff. So there's that, but I don't usually, I don't. For example, here's another example. I've played Dark Souls. I beat Dark Souls, I don't even know, 30 times. And I still don't have all the trophies or achievements for that game. And I have it on the Xbox 360 and on the PS3. And I've played it through on both systems many, many times. But I still don't have all the achievements. I just can't be bothered to get the achievements. Some of them are always like, get all the special weapons, or get all the, like, collect all the spells in one certain area or something. I'm not doing that stuff. That's like, I just get the stuff I need and then I'm I'm running away. I'm not going to go out of my way to get trophies or get 100% completion. It's really rare that I get 100% completion in anything. I got something in my eye too. That's not cool. But there are some games that I have. I got a 100% completion in Red Dead Redemption. Damn, I don't know what's up with my eye. But I'm just going to rub it here and continue talking. But besides that, I think I got 100% completion in, like, Alan Wake. But yeah, I don't know. My eye has got something in it. I don't know what it is. Contact lens shift or something. Whatever. So yeah, I don't usually go for like a 100% completion unless like a game is super fun and 100% completion is something I really want to do. I think I have 100% completion in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas also. I know I definitely have all the trophies and achievements or whatever. It's achievements for me because I have those on the 360. But whatever. So alright, next question. Doronai asks a truckload of questions. He didn't ask all these in one comment though, so don't get down on him. He was like, this is like over the span of all the other videos. I just compiled them into one section, the Doronai section. It's like an entire page of just him. So we're gonna go through his questions. So first he asked, you talked about the 90s PC era. Other than Wizardry and XCOM, what are the other games you enjoyed on the PC? I used to be a huge PC gamer in the 90s. So I played a ton of stuff, but just off the top of my head, I was really into the Blizzard games, so Warcraft, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, Diablo, Diablo 2, all the expansions for those, StarCraft. Let's see. I'm trying to think of games that I really enjoyed. You played all the Alone in the Dark games. Those were really good. They look awful, but they're good games. Let's see. I'm trying to think of course, Fallout 1 and 2. BloodNet is a real one that I really liked. Hell, a cyberpunk thriller, is alright, except it's like there's so many ways to be able to kind of lock yourself out of winning that game. It's like pretty broken. But I used to play that a bunch. Ray Bradbury's Martian Chronicles, which is kind of like an FMV game, I used to play a bunch for some reason, though I realized that it's not that good. There's a game called Castles, where you have to build castles and kind of take over adjoining provinces in France. It's a really good game. That game is really fun. I'm trying to think of other stuff. Pretty much all of the Gold Box games I used to love. So, but especially the Krynn series, so the Dragonlance ones. You have Dark Knights of Krynn, Dark Queen of Krynn, and I can't remember what the first one is. Dark Queen is the third one. I think Dark Knights is the second one, and I don't remember what the other game is. There's three games in that series, so off the top of my head, I'm blanking. Um, I'm trying to think some more stuff. Of course, Wizardry and XCOM. I mentioned those already. You said that I already mentioned those. Um, Trying to think. So many games on the PC. Uh, Harvester I mentioned already is a really fun one, even though it's really short and it's just kind of goofy. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is a really good game. Of course, what's it called? Populous is another one I played on the Amiga, and Monkey Island, stuff like that. I played so much stuff because I had an Amiga also, an Amiga 500, and I used to play on that in the 90s, way after like nobody played the Amiga anymore. But yeah, so that's a pretty good list of stuff. So he asked next, how do you feel about tutorials in games today? Are they holding our hand a bit too much? It depends on the game, I think, but some games are definitely guilty of holding your hand too much, and I think that's kind of a. I mean, I know a lot of people had problems with the latest Zelda game. I didn't play it, so I can't really cite that as an example. But like, there are games that are pretty handholdy with tutorials, and you know, you can always tell it's getting out of hand when you're like 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours into the game, and you're still getting tutorial advice. Like, if you haven't figured out all the stuff in the game at that point, like, something is wrong with the game design. Um, it seems like you should be able to throw people into the mix in the first like at least hour, if even for an RPG. Like, if you played the latest Shin Megami Tensei game, it blows through the tutorial really quickly, but it just does it in a way that like you learn all the stuff you have to learn in like you know rapid fire succession, but you still learn it, and it's still helpful. You don't have to like sit through 10 hours of slowly kind of spoon feeding you things. So I think that there is a difference, and things like, I think the way games like Dark Souls did it is a really good way to do a tutorial, because it is kind of a sink or swim kind of situation. And even though Dark Souls didn't really explain a lot of the stuff that they should have, but just kind of giving you basic examples of what to do and then places to use them right away is really a good example, because after that first like 10 minutes of the game, you never get any more instructions. You're just kind of like thrown into the world, and there you go. And that's the kind of thing I enjoy. I don't need a lot of hand holding or explanations for stuff. I just like to go right into stuff. So yeah, I guess they kind of do give you a bit more hand holding for a lot of games these days. Next question, your favorite Japanese dungeon crawler? That's first person, I guess. You would. This is Dora and I, so I'm guessing he means first person dungeon crawler. I don't know, because I think a lot of the Japanese dungeon crawlers I've played have been Wizardry games, and those are all good for the most part. I've played a bunch of those other ones. You know the ones I'm talking about, like by experience, and the Wizardry games, also, and Class of Heroes and stuff like that. But really, I think out of all the ones that I played so far, that Elminage Gothic was really like a kind of perfect first-person dungeon crawler in terms of like everything it did. It didn't do anything wrong, and I felt like it did a really good job of doing that. So I'll go with that one. Let's see, linear versus open world. What is to you an open world game? We're the old Final Fantasy games open world. I can start off with the last one, easy. The old Final Fantasy games, or pretty much most Final Fantasy games, are not open world. They are ridiculously linear. And that's what I was kind of wondering about this, because I've never played Final Fantasy 13, but I know everyone complained, like, it's so linear. Well, okay, but what Final Fantasy game wasn't linear before that? Like, think about it, all the areas where you had a map, sure, you have an overworld to walk around in, but you don't usually have more places to go than like just your standard like one area to go to where there's the next dungeon. Everywhere else is either blocked off by mountains or some kind of obstacle that won't let you past. Final Fantasy has never been like really open world until like usually the end part of the game where you've already visited almost everywhere. It's the kind of thing where like Final Fantasy is like for the most part not open world. All they do is like just kind of spoon feed you linearly the areas you should go to, and then towards the end give you an airship so you can go all around to the other places that you've already been or can return to. That's not really open world. Um, I don't know what else. What would I consider an open world game? I guess stuff like um, Oblivion is open world, Fallout is open world, and only I mean only to the point where like they're open world on the maps and they're in. I mean they're huge maps though, so I guess you could call it that. Those are all pretty good, I think, but there aren't any. I don't really care if a game is open world or linear. It doesn't really matter to me. If a game is linear, usually it's a linear for a reason, like it's telling a story, and to continue on in a certain fashion using with the story, you have to have some like some type of linearity, or weird things will happen, and I don't think that's a bad thing, and it's just all RPGs don't have to be open world, and all RPGs don't have to be linear. It's just depending on what kind of story you're telling and how you're setting things about. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. If a good game is good, who cares if it's linear or open world? So let's see. Does it annoy you when every playable character in the game can learn all the skills, so they end up being all the same at the end? That's I always think of that as kind of a poor game design where everybody can learn all the same skills, and that's not like it's not always bad, but it's it's bad if like you're fixed with certain characters, and in the end they're all pretty much the same. That's I mean it kind of negates the purpose of having a level up system where people can have level up in certain ways. It makes more sense to have people be specialized and markedly specialized, so each playthrough can be different. That would actually add a lot of fun to the game, I think, and a lot of replay value. But if you get towards the end and everybody is the same, that's kind of it's not really fun, I think. I can't think of any recent games that are like that, though. I know you must have something in mind, but I can't really think of anything lately that I've played that's like that. I don't know. I'm sure there are things, though. So, let's see. Where am I? Okay, yes. Is there a Japanese game you would like to see translated to English so that we over here can enjoy it too? Screw you guys. I don't care. No, I don't know. There are a lot of games that I think should have been translated, but now it's kind of like too late. Linda Cubed is a really awesome game. Like I would recommend everybody play that, and also Over My Dead Body, both on the PS1, or Linda Cubed is on the Saturn and on the TurboGrafx too, or the PC Engine. Sorry, it's not on TurboGrafx, but that game is amazing. You should play that if you can. I don't think there's a translation for it, but it's a really good game. And same with Over My Dead Body. That's super fun, and I hope the sequel gets at least localized for you guys to try out the system, because that game was tons of fun. But generally, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, mostly because like I generally don't think about it because it doesn't really affect me. That's selfish maybe, but that's what it is. Let's see. Okay. Where am I in this? There's so many questions and there's like no spacing between them, the way I pasted it anyway. Is there a game where you'd wish it had a bigger budget to include I guess cutscenes is FMV he's asking, but cutscenes I'd assume is what he means because he's talking about Strange Journey. Strange Journey actually is a good choice because if anything, well, that game was really good. I don't really have any complaints about that game. So like, even if there were no cutscenes or nothing with a bigger budget, it's fine as it is. I have almost no complaints about that game. But I don't know. I think the games that I think would have been better with a bigger budget are probably not games that I really like right now. They're probably more games that I'm trying to. Just looking behind me, I see Operation Darkness, and I wish that game had a better budget because it's if it looked something like Valkyria Chronicles, it would probably be a much more popular game because it doesn't look that great. It actually looks kind of bad, but it plays a bit like Valkyria Chronicles, and it has a horror story to it. It's kind of a horror strategy RPG set in World War I with or World War II. I don't remember, but I know it has like kind of a tentative Lovecraft connection where it has like the Reanimator in there. It's kind of though. It's like the name is like not so cleverly changed from the actual Lovecraft character name, but you know what I mean. Like I'm pretty sure it's in World War II in that game because I think there's Nazis and werewolves. So werewolves, Nazis, horror, Lovecraft crossover strategy RPG. That sounds like a good game, but it kind of does have a really low budget. So that's a pretty good example, I think. I'm trying to think of other stuff that I feel could be better with a bigger budget, but I can't. Nothing comes to mind. Not off the top of my head, anyway. Because a lot of stuff I just enjoyed anyway. I don't really care if the graphics aren't as good or it needs more cutscenes, or whatever, or more like better graphics or whatever. That stuff doesn't matter to me as long as the game is fun. Okay, so let's see. He's asking next. Your take on the RPGs that allow only one weapon and one armor set, I guess, on a character. Do you prefer a game like Diablo with tons of drops and loot and a couple of armor slots? And I don't really have a preference. I think depending on the game system, either way could be fine because Dark Souls has that kind of thing going on where you can have multiple weapons and multiple pieces of armor that you can mix and match, and it's awesome. But there's other games that I'm trying to think of, like what I played recently. Seventh Dragon 2020 has just one armor set essentially. It's just one weapon, one armor. You can't switch unless you do it outside of battle. And both of those were good. I don't really have a preference. I think it just depends on what kind of game system you're using. Obviously, if you have more armor you can switch and more weapons you can use in different situations, the game gives you more options, I guess, in terms of what you can do, and it does allow you to strategize more and kind of build a more customized character. So I guess that's better, but I wouldn't hold it against the game for not doing that, especially if it didn't really fit into the game itself. So I don't know. I like both those styles though, so I don't really have any huge complaints about that. Let's see. Are there any games where you were like, what the fuck, when they reveal the villain of the game? I can't think of any off the top of my head where I'm just like, what is going on? Why is this the villain? Yeah, I can't really think of any. I'm sure there are some, but I can't think of any. I'm sure there are some though. I'm positive. Where it's just like the boss is this ridiculous thing. This is. Oh wait, know what game really does that? Bionic Commando on the. Okay, here's a spoiler. If you don't want to be spoiled on Bionic Commando, you should skip ahead like a minute. But Fucking Super Joe is the last boss. Super Joe, come on, that's stupid. It's stupid because like Super Joe is the main character of a whole other game series. Like you're gonna screw that game series and have like a stupid just for the stupid twist at the end with of Bionic Commando. And there are problems with that game, Bionic Commando. I think it's like totally underrated in that like people tend to hate it a lot. But I thought it like beyond the stupid ending with Super Joe as the boss and the wife arm is that's all that those two things were the worst parts of the game. I actually thought it felt like a near perfect conversion from the 2D way you play the game, the 2D version to a 3D world. It felt that way. It didn't feel unfair or broken at all. It felt like if I'm swinging and I die, it's because I'm an idiot. I just didn't do it right. So I don't know. I felt that it was a really good game, and there were many points in the game where I felt this feels like how I remember playing the first one on the Nintendo. So I thought that was a pretty good game, actually. Totally unrelated to this question though, but that was the worst part. That was one of those like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Kind of moments with that game. Okay, so next question. Most of the SMT games where you use a physical skill, it requires HP, but in SMT4, physical skills use SP. Which one do you prefer? Actually, I noticed that, and I thought that was stupid. Like, I actually prefer the old way where physical skills require HP to use instead of SP. I think that makes more sense to me. At least in that world, because those physical skills are strong in a way that the other skills are not. So it makes sense to like have a penalty for it instead of the same penalty for magic. And it also makes sense to use magic on a magic scale and physical on the physical scale. And in SMT, you've only got health and the magic bar, well, magic points. So it's the kind of thing where like it makes sense, and it makes it more kind of risk versus reward for those. I prefer that method better. I mean, I didn't hate it in SMT, but again, I didn't use a physical character in SMT. I used a magic user in 4, so it wouldn't have really affected me that much. But I don't know. I prefer it to be hit points over some kind of SP or MP or whatever it is. So let's see. What's your take on RPGs with only 3 characters in battle? Um, you know, some of those are all right. Like I said, Seventh Dragon I really liked, and that only has 3 characters in battle. And you mentioned that Final Fantasy has been doing that forever. Have they? I don't remember. Oh yeah, I guess Final Fantasy VII is like that. There's more. There's 4 in Final Fantasy VI though, right? I'm pretty sure all the other ones before that were 4, but I don't know. They kind of blend together in my memory. But I know, yeah, three characters isn't so bad. You know what did that Mind Zero on the Vita? That is also 3 characters. I prefer a larger party. 5 characters, 6 characters, that's awesome because it gives you more options, it gives you more kind of strategy. But 3 seems to be all right too. It does make you wish you had more slots though for a lot of the time, because sometimes like a game will have different classes and you'll feel like, man, I kind of want to use this class for this situation, or but then you have to make a new character and level them up, and that's like a pain. So nobody ever does that kind of thing. But 3 characters, if they're set characters like they are in Mind Zero or in Final Fantasy, like that's fine. Doesn't really matter. So let's see. Last question from Dorna until we move on to some other people. But He asks, many games now offer different difficulty levels, but only the stats on monsters seem to change. Do you think they should add skills or different patterns or some other stuff to harder difficulties instead of just raising the enemy stats? That's a pretty good. It's a good point. I don't know. I think first of all, I don't like games that allow you to switch. I don't like when games allow you to switch the difficulty on the fly. I think if you think you're not going to be able to play the game on normal when you play or hard or whatever, they should just give you the option to select in the beginning easy, hard, easy, hard, normal, or easy. And if you select normal and you find yourself that it's too hard, well, get better. That's I mean, that's what I feel. I don't feel like you should be able to play a game and then like once you get to a hard boss, just put it on easy and beat the boss and then switch it back. I think that's it's not only I mean, I some people like to just play that way, but I feel like it negates the fun of playing the game. Um, it's the kind of thing where do you want to do that, or do you want to get better at the game? I mean, I always felt like if I come to a boss that's hard in a game and I'm like having trouble, I'm doing something wrong, and that's the fun part. When I get there and I can't win, I can't win because I haven't come up with the proper way to win, and it forces me to think about it and get better at the game. I have to think of a different way to fight than I was normally, and I think a lot of the fun with games is figuring out those kind of puzzles. So, and I know a lot of people don't think of boss battles in RPGs as puzzles, but essentially they are, because you have to watch what does the boss do and react to it, or you have to come up with a certain plan to overcome certain defenses or certain attacks from a boss. And I think doing that makes the game fun. But if you can just like flip it to easy and just do whatever you want to win, then you're kind of cheating yourself out of something. So I mean, if you want to play a game on easy, start from the beginning on easy. And if you don't feel you should do that, then you should feel that you should get better at the game. That's essentially my issue with that. I know some people don't care, but I always feel like switching on the fly is detrimental to the overall enjoyment to a game. I don't know. That's just me though. So, but if they do that, like that's not really your question, but if you were saying that, if you change the difficulty, the pattern should be different, or the kind of attack should be different. Some games do that. I'm trying to think. I think some of the Tales of games actually do that, where the bosses won't use stronger attacks, or they'll use them less often in lower difficulties. And I'm trying to think. I know there's some other games that do that, where like I heard the new Dark Souls actually does that, where you can make it more difficult by adding things to the bonfire, and it'll change the way the enemies work. So they'll be in different places, or there'll be more of them, or whatever. But it's the kind of thing that kind of thing is like at least forward thinking about the problem of just like increase the stats to make things harder. So yeah, I do agree though. I think they should come up with better ways to make things more difficult than just add more damage and health to the enemies. But again, that probably takes a lot more work than just changing the stats. So I can kind of understand why games with a lower budget wouldn't go about things that way. So it's a kind of like a clash between game design and game budget. And I would assume the budget would win for the most part in that case, because I don't think there's enough people who would appreciate that to even put all the extra work in. But yeah, so thanks for the million questions. We will continue. Next person, EX720 asks, I know this may be absurdly late. It's not really. It's towards the end though. How did you get into translation? And well, this is the kind of thing where actually I worked in the U.S. When I lived in the U.S., I worked as a systems engineer, and when I moved to Japan, I was doing that for a little while, and it was just it sucks, man. That's like all I can say. It's too much work, and like you're always on call or you're always busy, and I was working like 80-hour weeks and 7 days a week sometimes, and like that sucks, man. You're just always at work, and it's not even like it's totally draining. Like I'm working hard. It's just I'm there all the time, and and that sucked. So I got out of that as quick as I could. And the first job that I thought like I would be interested in doing or had some kind of ability to do was translation. So I was just like, hell, sign me up for that. It's a lot less money, but my kind of quality of life will go way up by doing that. So that's how I got into translation. It was something I could do that I thought like it's something that I wanted to do, I guess. So that's how I got into it. So I don't know if that's the kind of answer you wanted, but that's what you're getting. So next question, Bread the Gamer asked, what is that? What he says, besides Persona 4, the Golden, what games would you recommend for an American Vita owner? I don't know. Actually, I honestly don't know what I would recommend for an American Vita owner because I'm not sure. Like all the games, well, most of the games that come to mind are maybe not out in America. Soul Sacrifice I know is though, so I would recommend that. I mentioned that Silent Hill game. That's probably really cheap because I don't think anybody liked it. But if you like dungeon crawlers in a kind of horror setting, that game would be fun. Let me look at my Vita collection. Disgaea 3, I'd recommend that. The Touch My Katamari I would recommend if you get it cheap, only because it's so short. It's fun. It's really fun, but it's just so short. It's much shorter than any of the other games. Like it's like short like the iPhone games are. So it's not that long. There's not that many stages. Yeah. What is that? Hot Shots Golf is fun if you like golf. Even if you don't, I think it's a pretty fun game. I don't like golf at all, but I have Hot Shots Golf. I don't know. There's a lot of games on the Vita, though. There's a ton of stuff that I would recommend. But, I think all of my most recommended stuff are like first-person dungeon crawlers that are only out in Japanese. So it's kind of that kind of stuff. And, of course, Persona is a must-buy, but you already have that. I don't know. Kagero is really good, but I think that's actually coming out on the Vita, so you should get that next month when it comes out. Besides that, I don't know. So Dark A asks, what is your favorite Japanese wizardry game? I'll probably go with Wizardry X. That one's made by Michael, the developer, not just the guy named Michael, the developer Michael, who became Experience. That one is a really good one. That X and X2 are... X2, is that what it is? It's X second? I don't remember what... It's got a weird name, I think. Those two are really good. The ones you mentioned, Bushin and Zero, are both really good, the ones that Atlas did, but I think I prefer the X ones more on the PS2. Those ones are really good, though. All of those all of those are really good, actually. Bushin is... What was that localized as? I don't even remember. I don't know the English name for it, but the first one was localized. Forsaken Kingdom or something. I don't remember what it was localized as. But yeah, that's about it. Okay, Brandon Gonzalez. He asked... Oh, Brandon Gonzalez was my... I think my lone big N64 fan subscriber. So shout out to him being the N64 guy on here. Let's see. So he's asking me, have I ever played the Mother games? Yeah, I actually really liked those games. I have Mother and... Wait. I don't have it. Okay, I don't have it here. I have Mother 3 and Mother 2, and I don't have the first one, Mother, on the Famicom, but I haven't even beaten that one, actually. I've only played it a bit and then I never finished it. But it's kind of grindy. It's just like it feels like it's meant to just be like lots of grinding. So I just kind of gave up on it after a while. Not that it was bad, but Mother 2, good stuff. I really like that game. It's kind of got a nice charm to it. It is just one of the better Super Nintendo, Super Famicom games. It's not. I mean, I still think it's crazy overrated and crazy overpriced, but it's still really good, and I definitely recommend playing it. And I definitely think it's a great game. Mother 3, it's the same. I really liked that game. I actually bought that originally when I was in Japan in 2003. So I think 2003. It must have just came out because I was still in stores then. Um, I think maybe that was Mother 1 and 2. I'm trying to remember when I got it, but I don't know. Whatever. But I played that one and it's really good too. So those games are great. Um, yeah, I mean that's all I can say. I played them. They're good. So all right, thanks for the question. Next we've got Topaz D 255, and he asks, what is your favorite and least favorite Fire Emblem game, and thoughts on the series in general? I haven't. I don't know. I don't know what my least favorite Fire Emblem is. I kind of like all the Fire Emblem games. I even like Gaiden that nobody likes. I really like that one actually. I think it's like the Zelda 2 of the series, but it's still a really good game. I thought. Um, I don't know. I haven't even played all of the Fire Emblem games. I should, but they're so expensive. So like sometimes it's just I feel like I don't want to spend $80 to get another Fire Emblem game on the on the Super Famicom or whatever. Or the GameCube one is expensive, and I never played that one. I'd like to, but I don't. You know, I'm probably not going to spend the money to buy it. So I don't know if I have a least favorite. I don't know. Maybe the one on the Wii, and not even because it's bad. They're all really great. It's like being the worst game out of a whole lot of awesome games. And I don't even think that's a bad game. I don't think it's bad in any way. I think it's a great game. It's probably one of the best games on the Wii, but um, maybe I'll go with that one as my least favorite, even though I think it's awesome. And I'll probably go with the first one that's on the Super Famicom. That's a remake of the first game. I can't the I can't remember the name. It's the Nazo no Monsho, I think. Whatever. That one. I'll go with that one. But the series is great. That's like one of the best series that Nintendo makes. And I don't even like most of the stuff Nintendo develops. I'm not like playing Mario. I don't like Zelda. But Fire Emblem, I'll buy every one of those. Anything that Intelligent Systems makes, sign me up. Famicom Wars or Advance Wars, whatever it isn't. Yeah, Advance Wars. I'll play all of those too. But those are again made by the same team. I'll play all of those though. So sign me up for more of that stuff. They should make once some Fire Emblem game comes out for the Wii U, I'll be buying it. And if it's that SMT Cross Fire Emblem game, I'm definitely buying it. That's like a crossover made specifically for me. It's like they went into Nintendo was like, okay, we have to come up with a game that's gonna get Joe to buy the Wii U, even though there's no other games he really wants to play on it. That was it. That'll do it. If no other games came out on the system, just that one. They were just like, we're gonna charge you $300 for this game, and you can only play this game on the system. I'd still buy it because wouldn't be able to get away from it. But yeah, let's continue on. We're almost done, I think. I might actually be able to finish this. OT4Net asks about Front Mission. So he's asking, after Front Mission evolved, do you think there's any hope for the series? No, I actually don't. And let me explain why. I think Front Mission is a really good series. I don't really like mechs, but I like Front Mission because it's it's just a fun game. But Front Mission Evolved, like, probably killed any type of excitement anybody at Square Enix had for that game. I think they made that game and it was Front Mission Evolved. It wasn't Front Mission. And I think anybody who was excited for Front Mission would have got that game and been like, "What is this garbage?" And other people, I'm sure there are people who like it, but I think the vast majority of people didn't like it. So it's the kind of thing where I think Square Enix has just written that series off. It's just gone. Um, I don't see them making a new strategy RPG in the Front Mission series, which is sad actually because I would really, really like to play that, but I don't see it happening, and I don't see them finding it like profitable enough to even develop. And I bet you probably wouldn't be able to find anybody at Square Enix willing to spearhead that, to like put the effort in to get them to develop it. That's sad. That's the sad kind of truth of it. But I honestly don't think they're gonna make another Front Mission ever. I would be pleasantly surprised if they did, but not likely. Let's see. Continuing on. Let's see. Wait, am I looking at an old version of this list? Because that would be bad. Hold on. Just refresh the list, so hopefully. Okay, okay. No, maybe I'm not. Okay, so next question. Um, this is from Mark Vrienhoek or Vrienhoek. I don't know how to say that, but I'm sure I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly though. So that's the one thing I'm sure about. So question one is, if you could design a setting for SMT5, what would it be? I don't mind that like the settings are kind of continued, but I wish they would do another one where it starts out in normal Tokyo and things start slowly going to hell. So the whole beginning of the game would be you're just kind of this normal dude hanging out, going to the library or whatever, like in the first one, and suddenly you're like getting the demon summoning program through your email, and then the news reports are like, hey, there's demons coming out, and people start panicking, the town goes to hell, and then like everything starts happening. I wish they would do another kind of parallel story like that. They didn't quite do it in part 3, where the whole city changed drastically. Like, it would be much better if I think they redid it like that, where they started in the city and then like the whole city just went to hell again, like the first one. I'd like to see another setting like that. So, all right, number 2. A lot of games you play and books you read deal with the occult. Do you think the occult is pure fantasy, or do you think there is some truth to it in real life? Um, I think the occult is essentially um, bullshit. I guess I don't I don't know what to say about other than that. I don't believe in magic. I know like everyone, when I say that, people are gonna be like, yeah, no shit, and I don't believe in magic either. But then like you know I don't believe in anything that I think couldn't be supported with evidence. And like I feel that like I care about whether what I believe is true or not. So my goal, I guess, would be to believe in more true things than false things. So for something like the occult, there's no evidence for that. I mean, there's people who believe in it and people do occult things, but is there some mechanism that can work by? I don't think so. Nobody's been able to prove it over thousands of years. Um, if there is, I'll gladly, if someone shows me a mechanism how anything magic related could work, I will, gladly believe in it. But until then, um, I'm just kind of in the area where I feel like, until someone can prove that that stuff is true, I have no reason to believe it. So, yeah, that's my feelings on the occult. But that being said, I think the occult is really interesting. I think that topic, if if you had to have a fantasy, I think that kind of fantasy would is the most interesting. And like I think a lot of people think of fantasy as something like high magic. You know what I mean? Like high fantasy, or you know when they think magic, they think like friendship is magic or magic like wizards and I think like the kind of fantasy world that I think is best is a horror fantasy world in a sense that like not a fantasy world where everything is horror but that a fantasy world where monsters exist where there's terrible horrible monsters and those things essentially the evil is stronger than the good in the world but there is the good in the world which makes the good all that more important in the sense that like you know in any type of horror story that's occult based there's always some kind of good magic to counter the bad magic even though it's usually harder to get and harder to come in contact with and usually the evil forces are much stronger that's the kind of thing even like a Lovecraftian world is like probably the most interesting to me because like you know it's not I don't know it's not true but if it had to be true I guess I would agree that that one would be the best. I don't know why though. I think like it's the kind of thing where like in that kind of world everything is normal except for people who take the time to research things and find things that are not normal. And I think like it adds like a bit of mysticism to the world whereas in the real world they're you know do all the research in ancient books as you want you're never going to be able to summon Dagon or whatever it's not going to happen. So whatever. So number 3 he asked how are Tokyo girls. Pretty good. I got no complaints. Good stuff over in Tokyo. Tokyo is a very fashion conscious city, so I think for the most part, many people are very conscious of their appearance. So it makes, you know, you'll find a lot more people who are very fashionable or very, you know, putting a lot of time into their looks. So Tokyo girls tend to be on the cute side, much more so than other places I've been. But beyond that, you know, I think city people are city people. There's nothing really incredibly, I don't know, super special. You know what I mean? Like, nothing that, like, if you were in the US and you were all about, you know, girls in whatever city you're in, like, there are some characteristics that would be different, obviously, but generally people are people. So, I don't know. Girls are pretty great wherever you are, I guess. It's just in Tokyo the concentration of people is much thicker, so much more dense. So you get a lot more options, I think. That's about all. Let's see. This video is gonna. Okay, you know I've got half a page left of questions, but I've got less. I'm gonna go over an hour, I think. But if the camera doesn't die, I should be able to get all of this stuff done. So we're likely to finish this. Let's see. Where are we? Aaron F. Aaron F asks, do you have a favorite Suda Goichi game? And if you do, what about it makes it stand out among the rest of them? I don't know that I have a favorite. I have to think about it, but I haven't played them all. Like, I still haven't tried Lollipop Chainsaw. I don't even have it. I'm going to buy it eventually. It's still on my list of games to get. I just haven't played it yet. And I haven't played Killer is Dead, though I have it. I'm trying to think, like, I have that Kinect game he made, and that's like pretty fun, but it's not my favorite, obviously. I might even go with Shadows of the Damned, only because that game was a lot of fun. And I know it didn't get good reviews, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think I played through that twice. Like I played through it once and then immediately played through it again because it was a lot of fun. So I'll go with that one. I don't know what makes it stand out above the other ones. I like that it's goofy and dark. That's about it though. What else? Have you ever played Flower, Sun, and Rain? And if so, what are your thoughts about it? You know what? I played a bit of it, but I never finished it. Not because I didn't think it was good, but because I actually gave it to somebody when I was halfway through. Like somebody came over my house and I started playing that game, and they put it like a couple hours into it, and I just like was like, oh yeah, you can borrow it, and I never got it back. So it's the kind of thing where like, well, okay, whatever. I'm not probably won't buy it again, but it was good for what I played of it. It's not, I don't know. I think a lot of people find it kind of boring, but I thought it was pretty interesting. The world is interesting. Characters are interesting. Good enough for me. Let's see. Next, Just in Time asks, what are your thoughts on the next gen? Any games you're excited for? So far, next gen, pretty good so far. I have a PS4, and having a PS4 means that there's enough games that I'm excited about to have bought it. So I'm trying to think of what I'm excited for. Um, let's see, what's coming out on the PS4, or I mean even the Xbox One. But I think most of the stuff I'm interested on the Xbox One is already out. Um, yeah, PS4. That's or I guess multiplat stuff. So it would be both on that. But I am excited for that Shadows over Mordor game, the Lord of the Rings kind of PS4 game, and the Mad Max game that's coming out. I think that might be also on the 360 and PS3 though. I don't know, a few other things too, but I, I'm drawing a blank at the moment. Lily Bergamo is one that I was pretty excited for. That sweary 65 game or whatever, um, D4, that one. I'm also excited for that. So Lily Bergamo is actually a Sudogoichi game, which is pertinent to the last question. But those things are all pretty good. I'm hoping for more stuff, obviously, but things are looking good already. So I'm hoping for more Yakuza games if there's going to be more. But the first one is already out and it's awesome, so that's pretty good too. So all right. And then he asks, also, have you ever had someone come over and go, what the fuck is with all the games, man? No. Nobody's ever said that to me. And I'm sure people have come over and thought it, but not said it. But, yeah, no one's ever said that to me. It's getting to the point now where I need to buy more shelves because they're kind of like getting doubled up on each other, and I have no place to put games anymore. They're just kind of piled up around the room and on top of each other at this point. So, yeah, I maybe some people are definitely thinking it, but no one's ever said it. So, all right, next, Andrew Advent asks, what do you consider to be the best original Xbox games? That's hard. I'd go with the Silent Hill 2 on the Xbox is probably the best one. Of course, Call of Cthulhu on the Xbox. There are a bunch of things on the Xbox that like. Even that Call of Cthulhu game is a port, but there's a lot of ports that are good, but they're ports. Baldur's Gate is on there. I would mention those, but they're also on the PC. What did the Onimusha on the Xbox is good? Genso Onimusha, the kind of expanded version. Let me look. Well, Shin Megami Tensei 9 is pretty good, even though everybody hates it. Let's see. I'm trying to look. Otogi, I would definitely recommend those. That's by From Software. Otogi 1 and 2, those are all good. Metal Wolf Chaos is wacky, but it's so expensive that I wouldn't even recommend it. You are the U.S. president in a mech suit, if that gives you an idea what kind of game it is. Let me look at my stuff. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it. I'm sure there's a ton of games I'm forgetting right off the top of my head. Nothing is coming to mind. Jet Set Radio is on there. That's pretty good. Sega released a ton of stuff on the Xbox as exclusives, so the stuff Sega put out, almost all of that is probably awesome. Crazy Taxi 3 maybe is Xbox exclusive. I'm not sure anymore. Yeah, that stuff's all good. Original Xbox has a ton of stuff, but I think like if you're gonna find someone who's gonna tell you the best original Xbox games, you should go to Games of War's channel because I think he has a video, or at least he used to, about the best Xbox games, and he's probably a bit better at it than I am. So all right, next we've got OT4Net. This is actually like should have been in the other questions above, but I forgot to add it. He asked me what other games. Oh wait, he asked me, did you ever try Master of Orion 2? Because I mentioned Civilization 2. I never played Master of Orion or Master of Orion 2. I just never played those. I never had the want to play them because they're more space simmy than like Civilization type games. Even they're I don't know, kind of similar. And then he asks like, do you play PC games nowadays? Well, not for the most part, but I do sometimes. I still do play games on my PC, and I get most of my stuff from Good Old Games, and because they're DRM free. So I don't. The reason I don't buy a lot of PC games now is because I don't like Steam. I'm not going to use Steam because I don't want to use their system. I just don't want to use. Steam is essentially soft DRM. I don't want to be connected to Valve as a company for my games. I don't want to rely on Valve to use my games in the future. That's what I like about GOG, is like I just download that game and I can use it wherever, whenever, and I don't have to be connected to Valve. I don't have to be connected to Steam. I don't have to be connected to anything. I can burn it to a disk and give it to a friend if I want to. That's the beauty of DRM free, which is, you know, how things work. That's how I prefer my PC gaming. So I don't get any. If your game is a PC game that's exclusive to Steam, I'm not going to buy it. If I can buy it directly from your website, or if I can get it from GOG, I'll get it there. So I do play some PC games, but obviously the amount I play is really low because, you know, it's not like all the new games are coming to GOG. Some do, and then and if I'm interested, I'll get them there. But generally, if I'm playing PC games, it's retro PC games that I'm getting from Good Old Games, and some new games. Like I did get Papers, Please, and the new Shadowrun, and I will get Wasteland and whatever the what is Project Eternity? I don't remember, Tides of Eternity or whatever the name of it is called. And the new Planescape game they're going to put out. I'll get all of those because those are games I really liked. But the original ones. So when those come out on the PC, I'll be buying them. I'll be playing on the PC. But for the most part, I don't play games on my PC because I hate Steam. That's essentially it. And anything that's like Steam. So any soft DRM that requires me to be connected to a company. So like I just don't like that. I don't want to be. I don't want my purchases to be connected to somebody else. I want my purchases to be my purchases. Call me old-fashioned, whatever. But there it is. So last questions. These are the last questions. That's amazing. Finally, the end. Crushing On asks, have you played the Etrian Odyssey series, and how would you rate it as a first-person dungeon crawler? Haven't played all of the Etrian Odyssey series. I haven't played 3, or which one haven't I played? I think I haven't played 3, or I haven't played 1. Wait, no, I played 1, so I must be that I haven't played 3. Because there's one game in the series that I haven't played, and I know I played 2. But whatever, I've played almost all of the Etrian Odyssey series games, and they're good. I like those games. They're actually really good first-person dungeon crawlers, except like the art style is horrible. I hate the art style for that game. I hate the kind of all lowly characters. Like, why do that? I don't really like the monster designs either. I don't think it's like it's a game with a good art direction, but everything else is spectacular. So yeah, I definitely recommend Etrian Odyssey. And if you like the art, it's like a bonus because everything else is great, but I just can't get into the art design for that game. But that's my only real complaint about the series. So let's see. He asked number 2, who did you marry in Fire Emblem Awakening? I don't even remember. I'd have to check. That was like a year ago that I played that game. Maybe longer. I don't even remember. I just don't remember who I married. I think it was one of the witches, though. One of the mages in the game, whatever, the Black Witch, maybe. I don't remember. It was one of those, though. I remember that Crumb married the original horse girl. I don't remember her name, though. I think they're different, actually, between US and the Japanese versions anyway. But I think, like, after the first chapter, like, they forced the marriage between those two. Like, I didn't choose it. It just ended up they were married. But yeah, I don't really remember. Sorry. I mean, I'd actually have to get out the game and check. But I'm not going to do that because I don't think my 3DS has a charge right now. So I'd have to wait to charge it, and then I'd have to put in the game and check, and we don't have time for that. So this is actually the last question of the Q&A, so don't ask any more questions. I'm not making another video. This is the end. 6 hours of Q&A is like way too much. If you made it this far, you're a trooper. And the last question is a non-question from Crushing On. It's no questions. Just talk about the game that's in your mind right now. Game that's in my mind right now. Today is the 11th of March, and for you guys, that means a spectacular thing has happened. Dark Souls 2 has come out, and that's all I've been thinking about all day. I've been reading freaking reviews of Dark Souls 2. I've been super excited. It doesn't come out here until the 13th, so I've got 2 more days to wait, and it's like every day is like a horrible, painful nightmare that I can't play Dark Souls 2, knowing that it's already out and other people are already playing it. So I keep thinking about Dark Souls 2, and I should be thinking about playing Soul Sacrifice Delta because I haven't even put it in yet, even though I've had it for like almost a week now. But man, Souls, Dark Souls 2. That's all I can think about. I'm mentally planning my character in my head, trying to, and I have no idea how I'm doing that because I don't have any idea what the characters are like. Haven't been watching the trailers for the game. I've been like putting myself on media blackout for Dark Souls 2, and I'm gonna go and play my first playthrough like I played my first playthrough of Dark Souls without a guide. So I'm hoping that it's going to be awesome and that I'm going to be able to find some stuff before I die in that game a million times. So yeah, that's all I can think about, Dark Souls 2. So I've taken days off of work to play it. I've taken a week off, so from the middle of next week till the middle of the week after. So it's going to be all Dark Souls all day. I'm going to make a big pot of food and put it in a slow cooker and just eat that throughout the couple of days, and then refill it with new food after a couple days, and let the process continue. It's just gonna be, I'm gonna be like one of those EverQuest shut-in people that end up surrounded by boxes of pizza, except all of my food will be homemade, and I won't be fat and friendless, I guess. I don't know. For a week I will be, though. Even if people come over, I'm just gonna be like, no talking, Dark Souls. This video is like an hour and 10 minutes now, and it's the final video, so it has a reason for being over an hour. So, alright guys, this is the end of the Q&A. Thanks to everybody who asked a question, and everybody who watched these videos, including the final. And if you watched all of these videos, you're a trooper, because that's like 6 hours of your life totally used listening to me randomly answer questions about stuff. And yeah, that's, if you listen to all of these, that's pretty amazing. I don't think I'd even have the stamina to watch all of these. and I'm answering them. So it's the kind of thing where, you guys deserve a medal, or one of those, at least the blue ribbon that you'd get from your like field day in elementary school. That would be cool. I would send you all one, but I don't have your addresses. Don't send me your address. Okay, so I will see you guys in some more videos later in the week. Maybe I'll start uploading some impressions videos because I've got a backlog of them. So this is it. Last video, last Q&A video. If you have any questions, you're out of time. You missed out. Sorry, dudes. See ya.